This conference will now be recorded.
Awesome. So I don't know. I felt like writing some articles the other day, and if you guys wouldn't mind to mute yourselves unless you're ready to talk, because there's a lot of feedback coming through. And so I thought I would expand on the supply chain a little bit, so everybody knows where stuff comes from and where to go get it and that kind of thing. So I made this article, and it tells where everything originates from. That's why the rotary comes in way before the machine does, because it comes out of Florida and it's drop shipped right from the OEM. So it describes how all of this stuff works and how warranty parts work, and where to find parts if you need warranty parts or other stuff. So, I tried to get everything in there, and I'm going to be adding to it, but there's some pretty good stuff in there on where to get it and where it comes from and how the whole system is kind of put together. So, and that fiber should be here next Tuesday, according to the tracking, but we all know how that is, so I'll just see what happens. So, all right, good. We got some more people in. Travis, what's up, man? Oh, I'm sorry, Blue Moose.
Yeah, how's it going?
All right, going pretty good, man. So I was just killing a little time showing off an article that I made on the supply chain, on where everything comes from and originates and how all that stuff works, and where to get parts and things like that. So working on that kind of thing. So also, we are working with BOFA. We have access to a line of extractors, and I know when we talk about it, that's a pain point. We don't have much information on them. So we're working with BOFA, and I'm putting the details together now, and there's a good thing about it. And I believe it's a distributor that's near our headquarters. So, we're dealing, I think they're out of Texas. I'll have to double check on that. And they're going to handle all of the support. I'm going to give them a license on the support ticket system. So if somebody has an extractor question, then the BOFA tech guys will be right there in it, So I think that'll be pretty cool, because that's, we like providing parts, but I don't know enough about those things. We'd rather leave it to the pros, and they and Fumex are, arguably among the best in the industry. And I think BOFA tops Fumex as far as that goes. So have you played with any extractors or anything, Travis?
I've played with the BOFA.
Okay.
So yeah. One of my buddies has one of their advanced systems on his Epilogue.
Mm-hmm. And then also with the fiber coming out, they have a really, really attractive model for these Aurora fiber machines. And when I saw the price at first, I was like, are you sure you didn't miss a digit or something? So I think it's the AD series. I'm going to post that stuff online and get it in the support system as we populate all that information. So we're kind of working out all the details. So it ought to be a good thing. So, hey, Danny, how's it going? I did get your stuff. Sorry if I didn't respond. It's been kind of crazy over here. I was kind of hoping you'd forget about it. It wouldn't hurt my feelings any.
You said forget about what?
Oh, he was sending me a remainder for that pressure monitor. He was going to send me some money, and I kind of forgot about it, and I wasn't really that worried about it, but he sent it anyway. I appreciate it. You're muted, by the way.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
So, all right. Well, if anybody has any questions, like I say, that's the primary function, or comment. So feel free to jump in anytime you guys want. The rotary, the fiber I was talking about, I should have it next week. We're going to do a little testing. I'm waiting on the rotary. They're figuring out about the rotary, because the door does need to be open, it looks like, to use the rotary. And I want to get a good idea how that works. So I'm going to try to chronicle all of my pains and processes learning fiber, because I've never touched one before. And I'll publish some of that, probably not all of it, but some of it, so you can kind of follow along in my journey because I have no idea what I'm doing. So it'll be fun.
Hey Brian, I
Hey,
had a question for you. I started using that that basically an engraving error. I forgot who I bought it from. The same one that you had the little hook, the little,
right, the
whatever.
light object
Yeah,
engraving enhancer thingy.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Um, I noticed that on this last one, it definitely is getting smoke into the lens area more than the other
Okay.
way. Um, I tried different ways. And the only reason I know is I'm sure you might have seen the ticket or the order come through for a lens for me.
I
Um,
did.
yeah, I ordered a lens. Rebecca sent me a lens also. She next dayed one to me. But I did get a nice scorch mark on my lens there, and
Gotcha.
it works great, but I think
Mhm.
you just got to clean the lens more often maybe
Yeah.
when you're
Did you
using
crimp
that.
the end or did you leave it round
I
or
didn't
semi-round?
crimp it yet. No.
Okay. Because I've found, I tried to check it pretty close and it seemed to do okay for me, but you got to get the flow right, right under that orifice, and cover
Yeah.
it completely. Um, now, do you have the air where it's not connected to the regular nozzle when you're using it? Do you just switch it? Do you
Yeah,
just
I
switch up
switch
the
it.
line? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was thinking too, is if you actually put a T there, but then yeah, I don't know. I guess you'd have to
Yeah.
shut that nozzle off when you're cutting though. That would be kind of a
Yeah.
pain.
Well, you could put it like mine, and I split I ran an extra line to the gantry instead of having a single line to it, and I ran a low and a high. So the existing one is high, and I ran a new one
Right.
for low, and then each one of those stages is separate. So when I have it on high stage, it's the conical nozzle, the stock stuff, and then when I switch over to low, it uses the LO engraver. It switches the
Right, right.
variables.
Well, I was thinking if there's a way to, which I'm sure there is with another T or something somewhere, is to have the low where it's coming out of the nozzle and blowing out.
Gotcha. Now,
So therefore it's
I think Patrick showed something about that. Were you on here last week? On the
I
session
was
last week?
no, 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 I was. I haven't been here for like three
If I'm
weeks.
not
I've been
mistaken,
crazy.
last week Patrick showed his air setup, and he had an inline adjustment up there of some sort, if I remember correctly. You might want to go back and look at
Okay, I
last
will.
week's webinar because he showed his equipment, and he had a real neat setup, and was able to use both if he wanted to, I think, and control them, individually right there at the head.
Awesome.
If I'm not mistaken, you might want to look back on it to make sure.
Yeah,
Never
Yeah, he has
trust
like a
anything I say
little
totally.
adjustable valve, right? Little needle valve or something at the head, so it would divert some of it through the conical and the rest of it
Yeah,
through the
yeah.
brake line.
Hmm. Yep. So, um, that's about all I have as far as new stuff happening. Like I said, if anybody has anything, feel free to jump in.
Hey, Brian, I've got a couple of questions today.
Yeah, sure.
First, I'm wondering, has anybody ever used the products from Richlite to cut or engrave? I posted a link there in the chat.
Yeah, let me
It's
pull
really
that.
interesting. It's paper that's been epoxied and resin
Okay,
to make a board-like material. And I was just wondering if anybody had ever had any experience with that.
gotcha.
I did send an email to the company, and they came back and said that people did laser engrave it, although they didn't know of anyone doing it. But that cutting was problematic, and
Hmm.
people didn't really do that with lasers. And I was actually going to buy some and give it a shot, but I wanted to check and see with you guys to see if anybody had ever had any experience with it.
Yeah, I've never seen it before.
And the interesting thing will be when they say cutting with lasers, if they're talking, like a diode laser, a little desktop or tour, laser
Right,
master machine, or what's the laser pecker one or whatever, versus an industrial CO2 machine.
Yeah, yeah. And there are some things that an RF tube does better because you can adjust the frequency and things like that,
right.
and affect the output. So that's a thing also, another rabbit hole to jump down. Yeah, I've never seen that before. Maybe we'll get a sample one day and give it a shot if we ever get a chance. I still need to get some Romark and do some of that. We're getting more questions about that stuff, and I don't think I've ever run it. So,
Well, Epicurean sells cutting boards made out of this richlite stuff. And I saw a couple on Etsy that were engraved, although they look very lightly done, but not a lot. There's just a couple there.
Gotcha. Now, something that may work on that is like a heves ink or something like that. There may be something. They've got some inks and pigments that are for some really odd materials. If it didn't come out with the contrast that you wanted, let's see. There it is. See, they've got a bunch of different colors, and some of it's for porcelain, some of it's for aluminum, some of it's for ceramics, and all kinds of different polymers, ABS. So that's a neat thing. I'll post this in the link in the chat if anybody wants to check those out.
Is it used post lasering?
No, it's pre. It's kind of like a marking compound.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm looking at the link there. So when you said like resin coated paper, I was thinking thin, but no, not thin. Starting at 1/4 inch and going up. So it's more equivalent of like an acrylic, right? Or
well, and they get used. It gets used for countertops. They showed a sink made out of it.
Okay. Yeah. So it's
lots of different purposes. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking more like, like decorative happy birthday banners and stuff like that for party decoration. But this could be an alternate to cutting signs and things out of acrylic.
Well, what I was thinking about was custom sized cutting boards, and then then were engraved. Buy it in sheet form, and so you could cut
I'd be
your own
interested to
size.
see how that stuff cuts, especially that 1/2 inch or 1 1/4. There's some 1 1/4 in there. Wow. I might add that to the cart.
It's going to come down to understanding what type of resin and whether this wavelength on a CO2 is just going to melt it, right? Because that's the issue you run into with plastics, right? You can engrave some plastics, right? But you can also just melt and puddle up molten plastic a lot too.
Yeah. Now the fiber may be an option on it, but that you probably won't get the work here. You wouldn't do a cutting board on a fiber usually. Not cut it out. It would take a long time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, cutting it. It might cut it if you do 400 passes.
Yeah, and your cutting board could be 4x4. No, I think it's 8x8 on those starting off, so it's not terrible. But
yeah, maybe not cutting boards, maybe coasters.
Right, big coasters. Neato.
Okay, so my second question, if you guys don't mind me moving on.
Sure.
I'm thinking about venting. My lasers are new to me, and I'm thinking about how I'm going to vent them out. And I think I've got that down in my mind, but I'm also thinking about venting in from outside and using outside air as my vent source.
Yeah.
Germany do that?
Came up with some sort of molded ABS form that went across the front of the machine. And it was basically like a collector. It went right over the louvers, and then it connected to a 6-inch duct, and they went straight out the roof on theirs. It was a big factory, and there were or a maker space or something, and there was like lots and lots of lasers in there. But they were doing that so they wouldn't suck all the conditioned air out of that building, and they had them all set up that way.
For makeup air, right? Just bring in outside in.
Yeah.
So is that the only place on the machine that I have to worry about is the front louvers?
That's where most of the air comes from. That's where it's intended to come from. But we've had people talk about, having one on the top. AP laser, they have acrylic on top of theirs. They cut a hole and put a exhaust right on top of theirs. I like our downdraft one actually, especially for cutting, because you're ejecting that debris out the bottom and then it just goes right out. But there are ways that you can kind of fine tune that to your application.
Okay.
But yeah, they went through the louvers. They just had the external air. I had a picture of it, and I asked them about it, and they said no, they couldn't really talk about it because it was some client stuff they were showing, and then they took the video down before I got a picture of it, or I can't locate the video again. But it was a neat setup. a big row of thunders, a big matrix of thunders sitting in this big warehouse. It was cool.
If you're bringing in outside air, would you be worried about it being too hot outside and then the chiller having to overwork to keep your laser cool?
Nah, the tube wouldn't be affected by the ambient temperature in there that much. I mean, eventually it would raise, but really the chiller is just to keep the tube itself at an acceptable level. The inside of the cabinet, now, if you get too hot, the flame sensor will go off and it'll shut your machine down or start barking at you and let you know it thinks there's a fire.
So at what level does that happen?
I think it's 140 degrees Fahrenheit.
Well, if I'm sitting in 150-degree air, something else is wrong.
Yeah, right. If it's 140 degrees outside, you probably should not be worried about the laser at the moment.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give it a try, and I guess I'll let you know how it turns out.
Sure.
And honestly, for if you're only running a single laser, bringing in outside air really isn't that big of a deal. You're typically only going to be pulling, 800 CFM or whatever if you're running an aftermarket fan, and just a natural house's breathability will be able to compensate for that pretty easily.
Yeah,
if you're in an 800 square foot room, then yeah, you might have a different take on it because it'll suck it out every 60 seconds.
Well, and that's one of the things. My room is less than 800 square feet.
Yeah.
I've got 2 lasers, so I will be evacuating a great deal of air.
Is it in a sealed room? Because like in mine, I run 3 lasers. I pull out 3,200 CFM out of my room, and I just keep my door open and it's fine. So when I actually had it engineered, they came up with that little vent up there on the sidewall there. That's the vent that they had me add. But I absolutely hate it because it goes into one of my screen printing wet rooms. So it's a bunch of hot, humid air that it pulls in. So
gotcha. You could slap some vinyl over that and take care of that pretty quick.
I did on the other side.
Did you?
Yeah. So yeah, all my doors here, my doors are 4 foot by 9 foot tall. So I just leave that one open there and call it a day.
Sure.
My building is standalone, and so it's a portable building. I only have one door to the outside.
Oh, so gotcha.
I'm going to be pulling outside air anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that should do good. It's like if I can find that picture somewhere, I might have it in Google. Probably saved it for me, and I didn't know about it. So let me see if I can go back through my archives and see if I can find it, because I'd like to have it anyway, just to have another look. So.
Yeah. So you're saying they replace that section of the front where the louvers are just with a piece of acrylic, or they just put something over the outside?
Yeah, they put something over the outside. It was like a horn, like on the K40s, and you build a low profile. You can 3D print a low profile 4-inch duct hood or vent to go in there, and it just turns it at a right angle. It's basically just a plenum that just sticks on around the louvers and then converts to a 6-inch pipe going around the side and then up. So it reminded me a lot of those 3D printed K40 custom vents. I was trying to see if I could find a similar picture of something like it.
Yeah, I'm just mocking something up on mine right now. Yeah, you turn it, 90 it around the end and straight out the back.
Yeah, I'm not finding anything that's accurately representative of what I'm thinking about. But you got any more questions? I'll be glad to keep firing at them, and we can.
I think for now I'm good.
Okay. You got me off track now. I want to go find that picture of that stuff. That vent. So,
you're welcome.
No, that's good. That's a good thing. So, hey, Cheyenne, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. We're just chewing the fat a little bit and talking lasers.
How's your day going?
Good. All of my days are good.
Good.
All right. Well, like I said, anybody else, feel free to jump right in.
Hey guys, I got a quick question here.
Yeah.
Actually just placed my order with actually Cheyenne. How you doing, Cheyenne? I'm from South Texas. The heat down here is pretty brutal. I don't know, as far as the chiller, my laser's going to be in my garage. Is that something I need to kind of start doing something extra to cool that thing down, or should the chiller be fine?
Well, the chiller will be fine. It comes in intelligent mode, so in that instance, you'll probably want to put it in constant set point. What intelligent mode is, it's basically for conditioned rooms, and it'll keep the temperature set point within 5 degrees of the ambient temperature of whatever the room is. And then
Okay.
if it hits any high or low level alarms, of course, the chiller will still function that way and keep you from going into dangerous territory. But
Okay.
if it's 80 degrees in there and you have it on intelligent mode, once you get up past 30°C, it's going to give you an error, and you're already right there. So
Okay.
you can put it in constant set point mode where you set a set point, and usually at 20°C, and then it'll maintain between 15 and 25°C.
Okay. Now for us down here, it's not unnormal for us to see 100 degree, 105-degree days.
Mhm.
That's kind of the days that I'm kind of worried about. Now, I am thinking about probably putting in like a little mini split into the
Yeah,
garage, just to kind of cool it down. Obviously, I'm not looking to freeze the whole thing up, but if I can get
right,
somewhere around 75 degrees, I think, 78 degrees, heck, compared to 100,
sure.
I
And
don't know if
and
that's
it'll
gonna.
be fine, because it's 85 in here with me right now, and I'm looking at a mini split too, by the way. And but yeah, I mean, it's been 100 at night in August and sweat dripping off my back, and as long as you don't get any condensate, that's the thing you need to pay attention to,
Okay.
because that could be an issue if your tube and cooling system starts dripping all in that machine, because there's 30,000 volts right below that tube and running through the tube. So
Okay.
Yeah.
But either way,
Well,
the chiller will actually kind of warn me before it gets into dangerous territory, correct?
yes, it will.
Okay.
Just don't ever let it freeze. There's
Okay.
no
No,
warning for
well,
that other than it thaws out and you have a puddle of water and you're ordering a new tube.
that
So,
that just happened like maybe a couple of months ago. That was the first freeze ever in a long, long
oh
time.
yeah,
So I don't have to worry
yeah,
about that one.
okay,
The other thing also, if you did a mini split, a lot of people forget that it's not just cooling the laser tube down. You've got to watch your humidity levels too. If it's your ambient air temperature is 100 or 105 and you're cooling that laser tube down to 65, 70 degrees, you're going to start condensating on the outside of that tube and you're just going to fry everything.
Okay.
So one thing that I recommend is they sell little humidity gauges that have the temperature and the humidity on it. They're like $20 at Home Depot. They're magnetic backed. Slap one of those on your laser and just download a calculator to calculate what your dew point is. But that's
Okay.
really important to watch. I've seen so many people fry their entire lasers because they forgot to take into account the dew point.
Okay, that's good. Actually, our humidity here is really, really high, so I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
we've got
The worse it is.
we've got a high concentration of lasers in Louisiana, Texas, Tennessee, and it gets pretty humid. And I'll tell you, that does happen. He's exactly right. And we've had maybe one or two instances of 3,000 something tickets that we have logged. So it's not super common, but it absolutely does happen. So it's something to keep your eye on.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
yeah, one other thing to keep in mind that I noticed. So my shop is actually, I have a mini split in it, and instead of putting a hole through the wall, I just have my exhaust fan venting out a window. So I cut a piece of acrylic and made me a little makeshift hole for it. Make sure you keep in mind is in that same in the same situation is if you're not running your laser. So my shop, the laser's off, the fan's off. If you don't have a blast gate on there, what I saw in some extreme temperatures is I get condensation inside the machine on the glass because I have the hot air backfeeding effectively through the exhaust duct. And so I found, I go put a blast gate on there or you run into issues there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly right. And we actually had a case of that too. And it was so bad that it was condensate inside the controller, inside the HMI, in the display, and it shorted down the display. And that instance, they had their air conditioner accidentally set down to 65 or something like that in the room overnight. And they didn't have the lid open to even try to help mitigate that hot air that was inside the machine. And sure enough, it was like a rainforest in there.
Wow. I guess just any other question. I mean, I'm probably not to get my laser here probably till later on, probably late August, I think. As far as getting kind of stuff ready, I mean, I'm already looking into the vent fan and all that other stuff. Anything else you guys would recommend me kind of started looking for?
Just go through that cheat sheet. That's a good all around place to find pretty much anything you need. There's links and resources to pretty much every step of the setup process and preparation and everything.
Okay.
The other thing is go ahead and get you a copy of Lightburn and start making some sample files. Go run through what you're going to do if you have the laser sitting in front of you. You'll find out if you've not used it before, done vector editing or something. You might want to hone your skills there a little bit ahead of time too.
Yeah, well, I've kind of had a little bit of I guess a hobby laser. I kind of how do you put it? Kind of retrofitted my X-Carve with the diode laser.
The JTech on it?
I've been using Lightburn for a while, and actually, I really like it. I keep messaging the founder and see if he'll develop his Lightburn software for plasma too as well. But he says that it's kind of a little bit further along for that.
Yeah, he's working on some other tools.
Yeah. Look, don't bug him. He needs to develop it for fibers first, then he can plasma.
Yeah. Well, once you got vinyl cutters and all of that stuff, and I've already sent him all of the driver files out of my GraphTech software, so I don't know if he's going to do anything with it, but he's got it.
What I found just outside of the laser control, just the ease of use from vector editing, creating SVG files and stuff is, I was using it for a CNC machine previously before I even bought a laser, just because the trace functionality works so well, and you could just manipulate vector graphics a little bit easier than buying some of the more capable programs.
Yeah, in that cheat sheet, there's a link for the Lightburn trial mock Nova setup, and you can set it up to the parameters of your machine so that your workspace will be to the size of the machine that you ordered, so that your scale will be right and everything you'll see, and you'll be pretty much set up for it. So
cool.
And Brian, I posted a link in chat, kind of backtracking a little bit, going to that air vent thing you were looking for. That's a pretty good representation.
Yeah, except the only difference is it's sideways, and then the duct just comes out that one side. But yeah, that's exactly what I mean. It just fits right over the louvers. But yeah, anything like that, very, very similar. Yeah, it looks like they molded ABS, because it looked like they put it in a form and everything, or maybe did a vacuum mold on it or something, because it looked pretty sharp. But I don't know if you'd want to 3D print something that big. I guess you could. I wouldn't.
Just depends on what 3D printer you have.
Right.
Get one of those, the new Creality belt fed ones, right? Is
that the Ender 6, the one that's supposed to be the fastest one?
I thought I forget what it was called. It looked like they morphed the treadmill into the 3D printer, so it's got a conveyor belt, and your parts just keep going off. You can print, ultimately a lot bigger length. It's like infinite, but it has to go somewhere.
Unless they pop off prematurely or don't pop off at all.
Well, that was the thing I was looking at. Is bed adhesions one of the biggest problems with 3D printing, and they've got a conveyor belt for a bed on it. So,
and if they can make that so good, why can't they make a flat surface work?
Yeah.
Actually, you guys need to quit looking at the hobbyist style lasers. I just put up a link of the one that I'm getting ready to order up here, because we do a lot of signs. These things are specifically designed to 3D print channel letter signs. So and they are awesome.
What are they called? There you go.
It's a
Flash Forge.
one. And it prints 2 colors at a time. It uses a special type of filament, and basically it's a full glass bed on it that when you pull the glass bed off, you pour the liquid acrylic in, and that's the face of your channel letter when you're done.
Okay. Yeah, and is it still FDM style? Yeah, it's got the spools there, so it's still FDM style then.
Yeah, it's still the FDM style. It uses 2.2 kilogram spools, which are pretty standard, but you can go up to 5 kilogram spools. It's a special type of, what is the filament I'm thinking of? The common one that everyone uses is corn-based, but it's it uses, I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's a special filament. Everyone uses the PLA, that's what it is. It's a special type of PLA that's UV resistant and weather resistant, so it can go outside.
Nice.
That's
good, because most PLA melts when it goes outside, right?
Yep. Yeah, this stuff is really cool. I mean, this thing is designed to do, you know, our typical channel letters are about 8 inches tall. It'll do 4 of them at a time.
Nice. What's the price range on something like that, Travis?
About $6,000. Not too bad.
Oh, that's not bad. Oh, yeah. Looking at it, I was thinking a lot more.
I have zero reason to ever need anything like that, but I certainly want one.
Yeah, but it's cool.
Hey, when you make signs and stuff, that's kind of second nature. You know, I'm tired. I've got 4 3D printers now, and you know, I'm dealing with those little tiny beds and trying to splice letters together and everything. So we're finally upgrading to something a little more industrial.
Yeah. Awesome.
It just took me a couple of months to get my wife to convince me to get a laser. Now I got to convince her to get one of these too.
Yeah, the only downfall to these is I think your build height is only like 6 inches. It's really shallow for a laser that side, but you know, it's because it's specifically designed for channel letters.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Nice.
See, Brian, it's something else that you need to sell.
Well, yeah. I don't have any room for any other kind of equipment. I got rid of my one Odin in preparation for another Odin, and so I don't have too much space.
I still am waiting for my 2.2 kilowatt 5x10 fiber laser flatbed.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, still waiting for that.
Yeah, me too. I'll wait with you.
Is Thunder ever going to design something like that, or is that something that I should start looking other places?
I don't know. That's Marco Wong's territory right now, over at Light Object.
Yeah, well, Boss has them, but they're 200,000.
Yeah. So. Yeah, they're high over there. Marco's.
Full Spectrum has gantry style similar as well.
Yeah. Huh. Hey, Robert, how's it going, man?
That good, huh?
Well, I didn't want to talk to you either.
It just hung up on you.
Sorry about that. Push your wrong button.
Yeah, I know what you were really thinking. That's okay.
Yeah. It's tough to hide when you're on camera, Robert. Turn the camera off.
Yeah.
Doing a little Thunder laser inlay today.
Oh, cool. I see a video coming shortly.
Well, what I did is, you know, I got those digital gauges installed on both the 24 and the 35, and I wanted to make a little box to protect them a little bit. So I'm making them out of acrylic with some logos inset, just something different, you know.
Oh, sweet. Cool. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. How's everybody else doing?
Good.
Doing good. Just doing our thing. So.
One of these days, now that I'm getting back on these calls again, I'll have to give you guys a tour around the shop because we're finally now just settled in. You know, we upgraded. Now we're in 8,400 square feet. So
nice.
Yeah, got a little bit of breathing room.
I kind of watched some of your progress. I'd see you post some stuff here and there. That looked like a cool setup you got.
Yeah, the cloud ceiling idea. Don't ever do that. Let me put it this way. So here's my ceiling now. You can still see some remnants of the cloud. Most of the cloud, though, is There we go. Most of the cloud is sitting right there on the floor because it's been falling on my head ever since I put it up there. So trying to figure out something else to get it to stick up there with.
Gotcha. That's cool. All right. Well, like I said, anybody has anything, just let me know. I went dark. I made a little light to light up my face better out of a license plate and a couple of LED strips, and I think it's going out on me. So it kind of got dark. I could kick some lights on. Hey Google, let there be light. There we go. That's better.
Okay. That's
That's good. That's good. But tell her that you need guns.
It doesn't understand that.
Can
I
you say
ask
Google,
it for
I
all
need a
kinds
new
of
laser?
things. Huh?
Can you say, Google, I need a new laser?
Hey Google, power up Thunder Nova. Yeah, it'll do all that stuff. It didn't understand that probably because I used the wrong command. Oh, it did.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with that one. That one that's tied to that e-commerce marketplace. The kids start ordering things because they think it's funny. You just tell that lady to buy something, and it happens.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, I'll give you guys a quick little PSA, by the way. So I had a hard drive go out on me, 6 months old. So yeah, just make sure all your stuff's backed up. Luckily, all my stuff was backed up. But yeah, I mean, that's a Seagate Barracuda. They're supposed to be decent drives. And 6 months old, took a dump.
It happens. Now, I gotta turn my stuff off. If anybody has anything, let me know. I can't hear. The chiller's on, compressor's on. I thought this stuff was supposed to be ultra quiet. There we go. I mean, it's kind of quiet. So, anybody else got anything? Like I said, just let me know. I'm fresh out for today. It's been kicking my butt today. It hasn't been serious problems. It's just been a lot of stuff. So,
Yeah, I'm going to be pretty much completely new to everything with the laser and even the software type stuff. And then been intimidated with the light burn and the design side of it. And probably going to order the laser probably beginning of next week. Been putting it off for about 3 years actually, and trying to get the money together and just kind of research. And I love the Facebook pages y'all have and all the support and everything. I get on here quite regularly and listen to y'all and just kind of listen in.
sure.
Like if you want to do like pictures and stuff like that, I mean, you just like scan the picture or send the file over, and how much do you actually have to change it to make it even a resemblance to the graphic or the picture or whatever?
I'm gonna let somebody that's better at pictures answer that, like Robert or Grant, or probably
Grant,
Jamie,
yeah.
or probably Travis.
Honestly, with pictures, Lightburn with their newest updates does a fantastic job out of the box, doing all the prep work for it. There's a couple software, like if you want to get really, really in depth on it and have just ultra high quality pictures, there are softwares out there. I know there's a couple people, Sean Murray is one of them who sells some presets to do. I'm not a big fan of his. All they are is recorded actions. I mean, anyone can do that. But there are some online softwares that are free that do a really good job. But like I said, Lightburn out of the box, it does a really fantastic job. The biggest thing that I see when I'm helping people troubleshoot on photos is your photo DPI has to match your output DPI. So if your photo is 300 DPI, you better set your resolution on your laser at 300 DPI or one of the echoes of it, like 600 or 1200, something like that. Otherwise, you're going to get moire patterns and it's just going to look horrible. So make sure whatever your photo is, it's the same DPI as the output of your laser.
Yeah, and what I found that works a little bit easier for others who aren't, we'll say, as software or tech savvy on it, right? Some of the online tools, so like Imagear, for example, right? You can go in there and, if you start with a good enough quality picture, it's the key, right? a screenshot from Facebook from a 20-year-old wedding photo isn't going to yield good results without a ton of post processing, right?
Right.
But yeah, but if you start with a good enough quality picture that's got enough pixels in it, right? Because the laser is just going to lay down pixels, right? So the
Right.
pixels have to be there to be able to do. But if you take like an online tool like ImageR, you can go in and do a pretty good job of processing it relatively easy, and then take the pass through into Lightburn. And what I found is if you take what was done there, and then as some of the presets, you can do that because it's a free tool, so you don't have to buy some of the other tools. And then you can start see what you like, what works well, right? And then you can start tinkering around with these settings in Lightburn, or if you wanted to really get into it, going into Photoshop and playing with your contrast and your brightness and all your mask settings and stuff like that. But
Now, one thing I will say about the line interval, though, if you go too tight, you're just going to be overlapping. And I'm not sharing my screen. Let me share it real quick. There's a tool on this page, and I see what Travis is saying. But if you set your line interval to something like something crazy like 1200, you're just going to be going over the top of yourself over and over and over and over again. So more importantly, your line interval needs to jive with your spot size, or more accurately, the dot that is left behind by the beam. Because if you're doing wood, you're going to have a fuzzier beam, a wider dot than you would say on anodized aluminum or acrylics or something.
Right.
So that, there's a correlation between the spot size or the dot that you're outputting and what your line interval needs to be, so that they're not too far apart where you get those striations, and they're not too close together where you blow out all your detail. So,
and then the other thing is understanding what yields good results instead of chasing perfection, right? So if you
Right.
go look at like the high res lens, right? The
Right.
high
Yeah.
res lens can yield very high, resolutions, right? But if you go take that high res lens and try to do say 800 DPI on a foot by foot, 12 inch by 12 inch photo, you don't need that type of DPI there. Like 300 or 400 DPI will give you more than the resolution that's there, right? And it'll cut your job time dramatically. Right?
and the
I
other thing
found,
yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, I found that if I'm not doing like a really small photo, like a photo on a keychain or something, I found that the 2 inch or the 1.5 inch lens from American Photonics, right, is less hassle than trying to keep the HR lens clean right on the bottom side, and I always worry that thing's so close to the bed. I always worry whether I'm going to crash it into my little clips holding down the wood or whatever. So I find I get perfectly adequate results with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you really
One of
feel
the
like the HR lens is really worth it?
Go ahead, David.
I was saying, do you really think that the HR lens is actually really worth it, or does the 2 inch get it pretty much almost just the same?
If I had to do it over again, I would start with the 2 inch lens
Exactly.
and then upgrade afterwards, right? If it doesn't give you significant, because it's all subjective, right? What I found is stuff that I'm looking into, like on photos or the level of detail. I'm shooting for stuff because I know I've got an issue here or there's a problem here, and then the customer or the person you show up to, oh my God, I had no idea it could do that. That looks great, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's a crappy one. Let me go get the good one real quick, right? But just the expectation is what you need to look into, and you can always chase perfection. You can always chase getting better, but at the same time, what you'll find is you'll do way better than most people even know is possible.
Right. And also, like, how long is it? Like, say, because like I said, I'm about to order. I've been meaning to do it. I've just been putting it off, financially, thinking that maybe something's going to come up or whatever. Because basically, long story short, that I'm a stay-at-home dad. My old lady works. Her kid's on the spectrum. He's got problems, and he's a teenager, and he's always trying to do some plumbing or trying to do this. He's into the tool stuff, but I'm scared he's going to hurt himself. So I'm trying to incorporate this too, to where he has something, maybe teaching him how to do some sanding or do something where he's actually, if he can handle doing it, make it a family thing, and also just be able to help the family out here at the house, and also with extra income.
Mm-hmm.
And so, then I got to worry about it messing with stuff. So it's been kind of, stressful. And like I said, I've just been needing to pull the trigger on it. I just haven't. And then it's getting like, okay, well, if I don't pull the trigger now, I'm not even going to be able to make any of the money during the Christmas time where it's really banging, and try to get some of the money back quicker, And like I said, as far as the software and the computer stuff, I mean, I'm green, and I got a little 3-year-old, that keep me busy too. Yeah, I know. Go play, baby. And so that's, going to be a big problem trying to handle both them and do this at the same time. And, it's a lot of money to come out of pocket, and I'm looking at I really want to get the 63 because I want to go big and then not have to upgrade at any time, and just be done with it. But at the same time, I'm decided I'm going to go with the 51 because it gives me the little bit, because I was looking at the advantage in my area. There's not that many 63s or whatever. And I was looking at maybe I'd get the bigger jobs off people can't do or whatever, just to kind of give me a little up on other people. And but instead, I'm just going to go with the 51. And then eventually I'm going to want to get the 130 for the faster cutting and stuff. And I'll get the 63 and have that for the bigger pieces to cut out type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to go with the 51, and I kind of want to get all the other stuff because it's nice to have if hey, look, but at the same time, instead of out the gate, instead of adding a lot of the extra stuff, I'm wanting to learn it as it is.
Yeah.
Just like it's like if you go with the Chinese knockoffs or whatever, because I looked at them for a long time before I found y'all. And I'm not wanting to have to work on something all the time or trying to fix this or upgrade this. You got to upgrade that. You got to upgrade this just to get a little bit better quality.
Right.
So I'm thinking about really not getting I'll probably get the 4-inch head, just cut the bigger because it's going to be I'm getting the 100 watt.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about getting that. And as far as the camera, is the camera really worth it? Or
for me, it is. I like it. If you do a lot of one-off stuff and that kind of thing, it's not necessary to run the machine.
Right.
But
because what I'm looking at is I'm looking at I'm going to make stuff in the beginning. I'm going to try to do as much to where I make as much profit as possible. Cheaper material, engrave on stuff that's cheaper. I'm gonna start off small with like keychains on the tiles, stuff. The material's not that high. Maybe make some acrylic LED lights.
Mm-hmm.
Truthfully, I got a bingo hall I'm trying to get with. I know the owner. There's 3 of them, and they have like the daytime, the nighttime, and late night, and they give like $20 door prizes like every night. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try to get with them and get like, at least one day a week. I'm not trying to flood the market with their stuff, but it's right off for them. It helps me out, and
Sure.
24 times $20 for some little trinket type stuff or whatever, and everybody's happy. But like I said, I'm gonna order probably. I think I'm gonna put the deposit down probably Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And get it up and jump out there in the water. I look at it as, after you spend that kind of money, you ain't got a choice but to swim. But, I've been attempting, the computer part of it scares me, a lot.
That's all right.
But,
you can drive that thing like you stole it, and we'll be here to help you with the rest.
Right. Like I said, I love y'all guys, man. I read all the posts that people post, daily because I'm at the house bored, with the kids, man. I stay on that and I look at YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And Cheyenne's been great. I talked to Grant, I emailed Grant a couple of times, and I just kind of didn't do anything for a minute. Now, I'm just finally just going to go ahead and just say, I'm going to do it.
Sure.
I'm going to figure it out. And I'm going to run, and like you said, I'm going to run it like it stole something,
Yeah. Now, I'd get the rotary if I were you. That thing's an ATM machine.
Yeah.
You can pop
I'm going to get that. That's what I'm thinking about. What I was going to go ahead and get is I'm probably going to skip the extra heads. That's what, how long is it, like if I was to reorder the heads like later on, how long does it take normally to get a 4-inch?
Typically, we have them in stock in Texas.
Okay. Because I'm in Texas. I'm in Houston. So,
okay.
At one point I was even going to drive up there, but the biggest machine they had was a 35. And I'm like, well, hell, that's not the size I'm wanting to buy. So I really,
Right. Well, the good thing is they're all pretty much identical, except literally
Right.
for this. They all use the same motors and all that stuff. That makes it a breeze on service. Instead of having 5,000 different parts you have to deal with, we've got 20 or 30. So that really helps with the standardization. So,
but I've seen like a lot of people. Everybody's been really helpful with each other. I see people helping out, just like I saw the post about the lady. It's kind of the same. It amazed me if there's actually people kind of in the same situation I am. They're thinking the same thing I am, and they're doing the same thing I am, and everybody comes together and, oh, hey,
Are
I'm
you
gonna send
talking
you
about
this.
that one in
Yeah,
Hustle and Burn? Yeah.
yeah,
She's
and
she's about
hustle.
6 hours away from me. I'm gonna see if I can help her a little bit.
Right, right. And I saw that, and I was telling my old lady, I said, man, look, man, see how nice these. I mean, this is what sells it to me, as a whole. I said, man, everybody in these two groups that I'm in, just man, they try to help each other out. They're not like, well, tell you what, PM me over here and send me $100, and I'll tell you how to do
Yeah.
it. You know, or hey, I'll come over there and help you for $500. I'll teach you everything you need to know for $500. Uh,
That's a bargain. I think our going rate for boots on the ground is like $1,000 a day plus
right,
expenses right
right.
now.
But
But yeah, it's
I read that. I made a post in hers too. And I encouraged her and told her some of the ideas that I had. That I think that you can sell it. You just got to find a place to market it.
yeah,
And there's like 4 or 5 people that were going to send her stuff and everything. And I thought that was amazing.
yeah. I saw somebody sending her some wood and stuff.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were going to send stuff from some blanks, and the other guy was going to, lady was going to send her some stuff from Home Depot, a box of stuff from Home Depot. And you told her, hey, you know what, get with me. I'm going to help. I want to help you out some. And that's just amazing that people are out there doing that for each
Well,
other. I think
really,
that's real good.
this community makes Thunder. I mean, Thunder's an awesome machine, and all of that stuff. But really, the community is key. I mean, that's an integral part of how smooth everything is, and they've done a real good job of turning all of you guys into technicians if you have to be,
Right,
with all the documentation and stuff, without having to just go in blind.
right.
So I've actually been real surprised how well the remote service works, because I come from an on-site support industry, and I was sometimes unsure, if you'd be able to take care of every single problem that could come along remotely. And so far, we've been able to. So
Right. And Hustle and
cool.
Burn, that Hustle and Burn's real nice too. They're
Oh
really
yeah.
helpful of that too, man.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah, the other thing too, Brian, it helps with the product being built as well as it is, right?
Oh yeah.
You're trying to support K40s remotely, right?
Oh
It's a different story, right?
yeah.
Than Thunder, right?
Yeah. Definitely. So
Yeah, it's like I was going to put it in the garage because I'm like I said, I'm in Houston also, but we're in a rental property, and I'm like, and we were going to go try to buy a house, and all this inflation and the prices, everything. And I said, well, you know what, man, let's go ahead and get the machine. You hate your job anyway, so let me see if I can get this to take off to where maybe we can do it together, and you're home with the kids
hmm
more too. And I'll just put it in the garage or whatever. But I'm thinking I'm actually going to put it in the house. The house that we're in's got some kind of little window thing off the front of the living room, side of the house in the living room thing or whatever. And I'm just going to run the duct straight out the window or whatever when I use it and pull it back in or whatever.
right.
And then that way I don't have to worry about as much condensation and all that other stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, well, you're gonna like it, man, and I think you'll have a good go at it. I wouldn't be good at it because I can't. I never made anything or designed stuff. But if you've got a plan and a little bit of hustle, you'll definitely do good. I see good stories every day, and it's not like a Weight Watchers commercial where there's 1,000 people and there's one that was successful. I mean,
Right,
you see
right.
posts all the time about it, so that's another good thing, is
But
seeing everybody's success on these posts and stuff.
right. And then the thing about it is, man, you just find 1 or 2 companies, man, that do a lot of it, and that's your main bread and butter. You just do the other stuff for extra. Because that's what I'm saying.
What I've found is, no matter how many people are doing it, right, there's that many more that aren't, that are buying it or interested in it, right? There's not a single person here who's going to go take over the whole laser market, right? There's more market out there than there are people supplying to the market.
Right. Because I got the hustle game. I just got to figure out the design part of it and run the machine. You know, because I've always been a salesman at heart. Anyway, I can sell ice to Eskimos. And I've just been scared of it. But I know, without a doubt in my mind, I'm just wanting to make my money back from the machine as fast as possible. But I didn't want to put in kind of too hard of a goal. I figure I could pay off my machine in a year. I figure I could pay it off sooner than
Easily.
that. But I'm giving myself a year. That way I'm not trying to stress over it or whatever.
Right. Yeah, what you don't want to do is go, oh my gosh, at midnight, help me because I have 1,000 cups I have to have ready by tomorrow, and I can't figure out
Right,
how to do
right,
it.
right. Exactly. You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, well, the
that's
good news about the community is if you got to that point, posted in Facebook, there'll be people willing to fill that order for you too, right? So
Yeah.
it's, I've seen that a few times where people got into trouble one way or another and couldn't fill an order they got, and other people offer to engrave it for them.
Are you hiding? Glenn's hiding. He looks like he's like around the corner peeping at us. Oh
And
wait, he's
he's
stuck.
perfectly still.
He must be doing like a
He
wax.
waved before. I think he was getting off. I think he's disconnected.
Oh, he did. Okay, well, we'll catch him next time.
Yep. And for David, for you that was saying that you're just getting started on it, one of the things I've been talking about it forever, and then we had an unexpected move, which ended up being good. I am going to be starting up a training series. We have reevaluated and we're redoing everything from the ground up on it. The majority of the training stuff is all going to be free. We're going to be going through specialized projects that are season specific and that are guaranteed, or I shouldn't say guaranteed, but they are proven money makers. So basically, if you're in a little slow spell, you'll be able to log on to one of our webinars, watch the webinar. We're going to give you the files, do all that stuff, walk you through how to promote it, market it, and make your business successful. And that's going to be one of our entire goals, is to help get everyone else successful.
awesome. I
And
look forward to it.
Brian, but yeah, we did decide to make it, the majority of it's all going to be free now.
Gotcha.
Good.
Well, I don't know if maybe we could put it on the other. I want to get this thing going, and I've sent a thing to a few people. Let me kick it back on here for a minute. And you may already have a platform, but this thing is set up to have instructors and co-instructors and commissions set up, and you can have free or paid. I don't have any classes in there yet, but the whole platform is here, ready to go. And I want to expand on that and see if anybody will sign up and put their stuff out there. So I'm going to use. This is how we did the Laser Engraving Institute with Mark Stippo. Remember when that was running? It's the same platform. Yeah, it was. And, the content dried up, or otherwise, I ended up just putting it on Laser Gods for free and putting a donate button, hoping they'd send him some love,
Yep.
But he's doing some clocks and stuff now. He's partnering with some museums and doing some stuff up there.
So, and that's going to be some of the stuff that we're getting into, as well as we're going to be teaching how to build, like high-end cuckoo clocks and fashion all the different movements and all that kind of stuff. So that is actually one of the things I'm working on filming right now, actually. So the platform we're using, we're running I think it's a Teachable platform is what we did. We ended up getting the software and loading it on our website. So it's all on our private servers. So that was our big thing, is I didn't want to be stuck relying on someone else's servers. I know how my servers react. I know how fast they are. And so I just wanted it all on ours. But yeah, there'll be a full learning platform where, and Brian and I had talked about this a while back. The ultimate goal is to be able to get people different certification levels of where they're at with their laser, whether it's Thunder or whatever. We will have some dedicated ones for Thunder, but if it's going to be open to everyone, of course. So there'll be other certifications as well that you can get, like whether you're a gold certified, platinum, whatever it might be. But yeah, and you just go through, and some of them, like to get the top tier ones, of course, you'll have to go through, take an online test, and then once that's done, you're actually going to have to submit physical projects to myself or one of the other instructors to get that all fine-tuned, and they'll evaluate it. If it passes, it passes. If it doesn't, you get to redo the whole thing, because we don't want everyone to be a top tier person on it. I'd love everyone to be, but the goal is to make it so it's not easy to become top tier certified.
Right. Pretty cool.
And that's the thing, right? Is if everyone's top tier, then nobody is, right?
Exactly.
You have to have your A, B, and C list students, right? And that's the way with anything. If everyone wins, nobody wins.
Yep. Yeah, and right now, and Yeah, Brian, I just figured this out. I found out a couple days ago that that ebook that I had written, that I sent you a copy of, it was supposed to send it out as people were signing up. It hasn't been sending it out to anybody. So I just
Oh,
figured I
really?
found that out the other day. But yeah,
Okay.
I have like a full ebook. I'm working on fixing what, I don't know what's going on with that. I had to send it out to the developers to find out what's, how come when they sign up, this isn't going out. But yeah, so we'll have, ebooks on teaching you lasers from the ground up, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we want to try to help build the community to where, everyone is working with each other instead of against each other.
Right.
There's more than enough money on the table for everyone to take a pretty healthy chunk.
Yep.
I mean, we do pretty well ourselves up here, which is why I'm able to do this and offer most of it for free, and not have to worry about it. But if I'm all the way up in Alaska, there's only one person up here that's reached out to me recently, and they have a thunder laser, and I started giving him a bunch of my tips and tricks until I found out that she only lives like 15 minutes away from me and is going after my clients. I'm like, yep, we're going to stop that. So, being up in Alaska, I really don't have to worry about a whole lot of competition up here, which is why I don't mind doing it.
Sure. Well, that's super.
Yeah, I'd be definitely interested in that. That sounds wonderful.
Yep. Yeah, just keep an eye on the Thunder Laser Facebook group. I've got access. So when I go do live streams, I'll be streaming off of our website, our Facebook, YouTube, as well as Thunder Laser's Facebook, all at the same time.
Nice.
So we're running into a couple camera issues. The cameras I bought, they do great at 4K recording. They will not live stream at all, and I'm trying to figure out why. So yeah, this is my only 4K live stream camera I have.
Gotcha.
So need to get the other ones working.
Right. Well, that sounds cool, man. Well, let me see if anybody else has any last minute questions, because it's 4:01 and I probably ought to check the support ticket system. I turned the monitors off so I could pay attention to what was going on here. So do anybody got any?
No, I think you answered Keith's follow-up question there.
Yeah. You can, is he still on here? Yeah, you're still
It's
on here.
still
The there's a couple of questions here. As far as making a fence or ruler guides, you can do that. You can just draw a square and have the left upper origin at 0, 0, and just put your piece of material a little bit past it and stick it to the side of the bed or whatnot, and just cut out a little L, to use as a reference for 0, 0. But that's typically not the way you want to use this laser. We like to work in the center, front and center, where you can get to the material, because you don't have to work in that upper left corner.
Yep.
Um,
And what I found, Keith, to what you were looking to do, just a quick straight edge to use as a stop with an origin, right? If you're looking to do just a quick straight edge and position it like manually, you just go draw a line in the software, right? And then go hit the frame button. What I found is if you click frame multiple times, it will frame it multiple times. So if you draw a line, and you click it 5 times, it will just draw back and forth over the line. So if you wanted to go adjust the material while the laser was actually framing, you can adjust it and line it up just right. And I found that out, we'll say inadvertently, but it's actually pretty useful.
And
Yeah,
there's also
with,
a thing in the arrange tab. Sorry, Travis. In the arrange tab, where you can actually move the laser head to one point of whatever object you have selected, or whatever your artwork is, or however you have that selected in there. So that you can actually move the head, around in those locations as well.
Yeah, the other thing that's overlooked a lot is in Lightburn, you have the ability to change the frame speed. And a lot of people don't realize that, because it does, by default, it frames fairly quick. So if you're trying to get a precise alignment on something, the two things I always do is turn on the rubber band mode for the framing, and then also change my frame speed, slow it down by at least half.
I was gonna say, when you rubber banded it, the standard, it's pretty violent, right? If you get a lot of movement. So.
As far as the nozzle height on the stock 2-inch lens at 6 millimeters approximately, and the autofocus always brings it to that height, no matter what thickness the material is. Is that what you were asking? Oh, okay, the 4-inch lens. Yeah, I got you. He was talking. Yeah, we can pick that up. Or if you want to, you can just email support@thunderlaserusa.com, and one of the techs will pop you an answer pretty quick. We'll be glad to help that way too. You don't have to wait till next week. So,
Yep,
all
and
right. Well,
honestly, Keith, with that, if you want to get your nozzle down lower when you're running the 4-inch head, I forgot where I saw them. I'll try to find them. But they make extension tubes that go between the cone and the lens to push that cone down farther, closer to your cutting piece, so you get more air volume directly on your cut piece.
yeah.
I don't know if that
So,
would answers the question, but
yeah.
might help.
Well, maybe he'll shoot us. Okay. Yeah, he said that helps too. He'll shoot us an email. And we can explore that a little bit more if he runs into that. So, well, cool. I guess I'm gonna call it quits on this. Let me hit